What's up, my beautiful people? This is your girl Jada, and I have Tay, Ali, and Thomas next to me here, and we are back, y'all. We had a little break in between. We all went on a little vacation break, took a little chill, time to cool down. Everybody needs that every once in a while. We were just talking about mental health, so yeah, make sure you start checking out every once in a while just to make sure that you can woosah. But anyways, we're back here for you to give you the real juicy stuff. So let's start the show off with a little bit of gossip. Everybody loves gossip. On Twitter recently, there has been a bunch of, I want to call them trollers, because they are mad at LaLa because they're saying that there's speculation that she will not accept Carmelos' child, that bastard child. Now, there's speculation that he pays support but isn't in the child's life, according to the mother. And the mom also says that LaLa doesn't accept the child. In your opinion, do you guys think that the Anthonys are doing anything wrong by just being financially supportive?
You don't just use money to take care of a child. And
it's a girl.
Yeah.
It's a girl at that.
That's just like, look at it from the other side of when, like, a person be like, well, a dude be like, well, I pay child support, ain't that good enough? Or I make sure my baby got everything. Mm-hmm. That doesn't equate to, like, actually taking care of your child all the way. They need to, like, definitely. I can't tell them how to raise their child because that situation is like a complicated one. Yeah. But I still think he should have some presence in that child. Like, you got to accept what comes with your husband, regardless if he fucked up or not.
Yeah, I feel like if it is true what they're saying, LaLa has to accept the child. If you're going to accept him back as your husband and you want to move forward with the relationship, you got to accept what comes with him. Like, you're going to have to accept the child. It is what it is. And I couldn't even respect a man wholeheartedly if he has a child that he's not taken care of,
or at least trying to fight for it.
Yeah, and like this child is there. You're financially supporting, but you're making a decision not to be in that child's life.
Who you think is him making the decision?
But as a man, nobody should be able to stop me from raising my child, wife or not.
He has to be making a decision.
So, because the reason I say that is because, like, I'm not gonna get in nobody's business, but like my brother is in that situation where he got a child. Right, she's with another guy. They're in a relationship. He doesn't want her having contact with my brother, regardless, even though that's his baby. So my mother can't see the baby. She's blocked on everything. My brother makes attempts to try to see the baby, but she's put up a block so that she can't. Doesn't mean that he doesn't want to take care of his child and doesn't want to take care of my niece, and it's a girl too. So that's why I'm asking. You can do certain things, but other people can play outside forces within and trying to block you. He's doing everything he can, but
in that situation, I definitely respect that.
So what if it's actually him trying to, and LaLa's like, no?
Yes, but I understand that.
That goes back to what I'm saying. Even a wife is not going to stop me from not seeing my child. If I can, Carmelo Anthony has millions. If the baby mom tried to stop, he can get attorneys and he can get lawyers to get all of that thrown out, and he can see his child if he wants to see his child.
Yes, that's definitely
Carmelo
true.
Anthony is nothing my wife could say to stop me from seeing my child.
But here's the thing that we're not even thinking about. He's trying to save his marriage, and he cheated on her, and so what he's trying to do is get a woman back at the same time while taking care of his child. Now, I could see in a world how that can play out, and how he's so busy trying to keep his wife and still try to take care of his child that he knows that that's a no-go for her. Now, it's up to LaLa to be grown enough to, if you're going to decide to take him back, then you're going to have to decide to somehow deal with this child. But at the end of the day, I think that that's a whole process that she's going to have to go through, because I can understand as a woman how that can be super duper duper difficult to see a living reminder of your husband had sex with another woman.
I get that.
So I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it takes a man to have a conversation with LaLa and to say that this has nothing to do with this child. Yeah. What I did had nothing to do with this child. So let's not punish this child for a mistake that I made.
I absolutely agree. But I just think, like, with his situation, it's a little different because he's in that financial situation. And LaLa, I'm just comparing the situation to other men that I do know who are trying to not even there. I'll just say this. I've even seen situations where Boosie, if y'all watch Boosie, like he get into it with his baby mamas all the time, where like last Christmas she wouldn't let him see the kids for Christmas. He trying to fly the kids out. You know what I mean? So you can have money or not. Sometimes that mother or the woman you with can put up blocks and do things. Definitely. Women know your weakness and can block. Doesn't mean that you're not trying though.
Definitely.
I agree. But with some of those things, I think a lot of times if you haven't already, guys, we got to take legal action. Like a lot of times we don't think of that, but we got to start taking legal action, holding people accountable, because at the end of the day, although these roadblocks are in front of you, it costs too. It costs too. But sometimes if you have it, that's the sacrifice you have to make, because your child is not seeing that a lot of times. So they hearing what your mom say or what these other people say, and when they get 18, those are scars that they have of like feeling like they like nobody fought for them, like nobody. So at least try and do something, serve some papers or something, so they know at the end of the day you tried and you fought to try to have this relationship.
Definitely. I think that's what it is. And I don't think that they're wrong for coming at LaLa. I just think they're wrong for doing that on that day. It was on Father's Day. Yeah. So to me that was just real inappropriate to me for you to be talking about that.
You don't know how somebody will respond. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the mom put it out there. Yeah, which she should not have done.
Because a lot of women
say baby mom,
she put it out there.
Say what they won't do or what they will do until that probably happens to them, and I don't wish that on nobody. Right. Everybody handles situations differently,
way different, and give her time to process.
She grieving. I'm not saying grieving, but that's like.
It's a process to get through that, like for you to even be able to look at that reminder. And that's what that is to her. Like people have to understand that that child is a reminder of pain. So I get why she's the way she is right now. But move along, there was a Harvard student that got revoked from the admission. His admission revoked. Now, I want to give y'all a little bit of details with this because he kind of goes on Twitter and makes it seem like he's a victim, but I want to give y'all background with him. So 3 months after being admitted, he got his Harvard admission revoked, and this was over texts and comments made 2 years ago on Google Docs and Google Chats that mentioned the word nigger, right? So he basically like 2 months after that, he had gotten in trouble for it, and he apologized for it. He did this whole letter basically apologizing, and actually like it seemed legit that he was actually sorry for it. And he basically posted all that on Twitter and basically saying that it's not fair. I apologize for this. This 2 years later, I don't understand why y'all are revoking my admission for this when I recognized I was wrong and I apologize for it. So where is my forgiveness? You don't forgive? Now, he also is a survivor of a 2018 shooting at a school in Parkland, Florida. And 2 months later after that, he basically is famous for opposing gun control after that had happened. Now, you just got shot up by somebody, you want to oppose gun control. And so to me, I call it karma. But hey, I don't think, to me, I understand that everybody needs to be forgiven because we all make mistakes, but I call it karma.
And you know where the messages came from. These are leaked messages between their group chat.
Yeah.
Like in school, you know what I mean? So this is obviously, how can I put it? These people down there that were shot, not taken away from them, but this is their theology, because in that same context, right, which was kind of ironic to me, I'm paying attention to language. He goes and states that, this school, Harvard, should understand rehabilitation or forgiveness when you stem and look into their history and you see that they own slaves or this and this and this. And then what that made me think, because at first I wasn't going to bash him because I understand some of his ideology in a sense where people try to counsel people or say that they're racist for some of the followers. Like he follows Ben Shapiro.
That's a whole different topic,
that's
right?
That's totally different, right? But what it made me think about was, if you knew this, right, and these group of people already knew this, and y'all still tried to apply to these schools, you're only crying victim about it now,
right?
Because so technically, you was applying to Harvard and you knew the background on Harvard, so therefore that means to me your ideology aligns with them. So now you're bashing them for owning slaves
because they rejected you
and doing these certain things, and you want to throw dirt on their name, but it's like. you are obviously aligned with it because you're not going to apply to no school
Especially not
historically. Like,
That's why I think it's a good thing that Harvard actually revoked.
Yeah, I'm proud.
so that's why I'm actually
proud
glad
they
they
did
did
that. I am. I was happy.
Yeah,
At first,
that-
I was the same way. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
got me for a second. Then I kind of did the research on him.
and then
And I was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
This
and then
makes
the
sense
language, like the
Yeah. The deliberate.
Yeah.
It was deliberate.
like
Right.
to them it was a joke.
Yeah.
So you think this
Right.
shit is
And he
funny?
said practice makes perfect. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
But as far as him,
Who's
like,
ya?
I'm not gonna get in deep in it, but I did see that too, where he's after that incident in Florida or whatever, that he's against gun control. But and some of them was arguing that maybe if we had security or other people with guns on us,
Then
that
that
we
wouldn't
could have
happen.
protected the
Yeah.
school. So that's just a
Right.
double argument. So it doesn't mean
Exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely not saying that it means that that he has some kind of connotation. It's just to me that for you to have gone through something like that,
the
and for you to
roosters
be
came
so,
home to roost.
but
That's
for
all.
you to be so vocal and just so like, to me as a child, like that shows the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
After all, like you just saw a bunch of people just get shot.
No,
in front
that
of your
remember
eyes.
that was 2 months prior to that. That was
But I
2
still
months prior
couldn't-
to that.
Wait, no, it was after it when he said that. When he made those comments, it was after it happened. It was 2 months after.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2 months before it happened. I saw the interview on CNN. It was 2 months before.
telling you,
It was
I
2 months.
just
It was 2 months
looked
prior.
it
It was
up.
2 months
Yeah,
prior
they don't
before
know.
everything happened. Because I'm tell you why. After that catapulted him into a public figure because he came and started
Really?
speaking out. That happened to his whole claim to it was that was 2 months prior to the shooting, and I've grown a lot. Since then, yeah. So,
He did
but
say it, he did
I
say
feel
it.
like he like that Harvard thing he brought up really pissed me off because it's like you talking about things that happened in the 1600s and you're in 2019
Look.
and you're still using this derogatory language. Although you know better, you still choose to use this language and make a joke out of this.
Yeah.
Like this is 2019.
The concept, like,
it's not 16, whatever.
And that speaks volumes. That's why I was correlating the simple fact that he knows the history of the school and yet still applies. So y'all still align
So you
with
never
these
cared about
ideologies.
it.
But just like you said, it's 2019. The first slaves landed here at 1619, and we still dealing with the
100
same
years
shit
ago.
that was going on. Same theology, same ideology.
1603.
1619 is the first time the slave ship landed on the ports with slaves on it. Facts.
In Florida, St. Augustine, 1603.
Okay, because
Okay.
Florida wasn't considered part of
Part of
the
the United
U.S.
States.
Yeah.
That
Oh, my
was
bad, my bad.
that was a fort that they built. So that's why Georgia is actually created. Georgia is created as a borderline to protect us from the Spaniards coming through and conquering.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
So,
this
yeah,
Georgia
I
was a
mean,
roadblock.
I don't know. I think it's really convenient for him to mention a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff that he mentioned, and I just think that to me it's like a lot. Black people go through so much of this that we just like, are you for real?
I think we should,
Like-
like not. It just shows me too that it is showing growth actually,
Yeah.
and
It
Harvard,
definitely
because a lot of those
is.
times we know that people are benefiting from white supremacy or
Yeah.
whatever, and they don't care. They look the other way because they're getting that money and network. He's
Exactly.
very intelligent, and he does have a lot of network, and so the simple fact that they were like, hell no,
Right.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I
You
respect
got
That's a big
that.
step.
That's a big step in showing growth and maturity, and I
Yeah.
respect it.
And then when he was talking on the show, like they were asking, he was like, "I've grown so much from this," and I'm like, "This was 2
Have you
years
really?
ago," and they was
Yeah.
like, "What have you like?" I've been a proponent to not racially profile. Like, what have you actually done to show that you've
Nothing.
grown in a year and a half,
And,
2
and,
years?
and a lot of people were retweeting other tweets that he posted. So some of it can be borderline like questionable. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't learned yet about, you know what I'm saying, how to use technology
Yeah.
and how
Right.
to articulate his thoughts across
Right.
specifically. And he's still, in a sense, carrying on the same type of mentality. Maybe just not doing it as vocal.
Yeah.
But I don't think you've changed.
And what's
Yeah.
sad,
And
what's
his
even
family
more,
got ties to Trump and
I'm
all of that. Like, they've been-
what's even
Yeah.
more sad is that even though he gonna get revoked from Harvard, some other elite PWI
Nah,
is going
I think it's
to
gonna be a little
accept
too
him.
hot right now. It's
I'm
gonna be a little too hot.
I
It
feel
may
like
be,
he's
it may
gonna
not
still
be
go
an
somewhere.
elite like a Yale or Stanford. It may be something like a University of Chicago or
It's
something
gonna
like
be
that. But
distinguished to me.
it won't be a private school. It'll be a
Yes,
public
I
school.
doubt
Because
it'll be
public
a
schools you
private.
can't do that, but they're private because they sent back in a letter that we can reject you based off your morals.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
So
I think I think he'll be able to go to another Ivy League school or
Yeah,
something. I
Ivy
think
League.
what's
You might
going
be
to
right. You
happen
might be
is,
right.
and I'm not even
'Cause they
trying to
got
be
pulled up
funny.
there.
I'm telling you,
I'm not even trying to be funny, but after a few months and
It's gonna
people
fizzle down,
pop
yeah.
up with something
You're
else,
right.
he gonna
It's
slide
always
right up in
something
there
else.
because somebody like think about this. After World War II, after we collapsed, we were trying to be the first ones to go to space. Did you know that all of the people that we hired, 750 of the people that were engineers came from the Nazi Party? We stopped them from being convicted, took them over. So we do that all the time in certain instances where we'll look the other way
Right.
in order to
To
gain
benefit,
something.
yeah.
So they ain't no different.
right. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it moving on, just to let y'all know that this is something that was just really interesting that we wanted to really talk about and get y'all thoughts on. So comment on our show.
By the way, your hair looks nice.
Oh,
Nice
thank
little
you.
bun.
Like I know y'all probably look like she changed her hairstyle every show. I mean, like, but no, I don't know why. It just don't happen every show I have a different hairstyle.
Question for you. Question.
What's the question?
I'm gonna throw a little loop in there, right? Like, how y'all do the little baby hairs in the morning? Because obviously y'all popping. Because I'm even seeing white girls now walking around with the little. I'm not trying to be funny.
I saw a white girl in Florida.
I just seen a white girl the other day with the little. What is the
that.
process in going to them baby curls curling like that?
You honestly have to learn how to do it, and that's not something. And that's crazy.
Me?
Like no, like you actually have to learn how to do your edges.
Okay, teach me. Go trying to get edge control.
Let me tell you what taught me. YouTube. But
YouTube.
no, but for real. And then you also have it's the brush that you use. The best brush to use is a toothbrush.
I knew you were gonna say that. I seen that. Y'all
girls toothbrush with their brush. They be having the black shit all on the toothbrush. I'll be like, what the hell are you brushing?
On your toothbrush.
Yeah.
But no, I'm telling you, toothbrushes work miracles. I guess because it's like a harder brush, so it does better with
How your wrist game? Like, let me show you. Give us a demonstration. Just one demonstration.
I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not playing with y'all.
My bad.
Yeah, y'all.
Shout out to all them ladies out there with their pretty baby hairs.
Putting that effort into that hair, okay? But okay, we're gonna keep it moving on to Trump. We go from hair to Trump, Lord Jesus. So Trump basically let's say, I would say at most, he's just been being very aggressive, I would say, towards individuals that are considered immigrants in America. And pretty much so there was this woman,
undocumented.
her last name is Ocasio-Cortez, and she is a representative of pretty much all of the individuals that are going to those detention centers and pretty much being forced to leave America. And she tweeted that this administration has established concentration camps on the southern border of the U.S. for immigrants, where they are being brutalized and dehumanizing conditions and dying. This is not in hyperbole. This is the conclusion of expert analysis.
Who you said tweeted that?
This is oh gosh, hold on. You don't ask me that. Really? Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, okay, Cortez. You know who that is?
Yeah. It's a woman.
Yeah,
a Latino woman.
She's
a Latino woman that she's a lawyer, I think.
Nah, she just ran for council and all of that. She won council a few months ago. She's one of the youngest members ever to win a Democratic seat in New York.
Right.
Yeah, she did that last year.
And she's been really vocal on that. People have been bashing her.
They consider her like when the right attacks her in politics, they would consider her a socialist. She comes up under that
definitely.
movement.
She moves like a socialist.
Well, she represents that younger Democratic movement. But we're seeing right now where it's split in the Democratic Party, where you're seeing now younger people, and she's one of the first people to take that seat. That guy had that seat for like 19 years,
right?
Wow. And she was able to get grassroots to get into it. But go ahead.
So to give you gives you more insight on this, but what is so important about this is I want to tell you what Trump recently tweeted about this 2 weeks ago, which pretty much which was after she did this tweet. He said that the ICE will begin the process of removing millions of illegal, he calls them quote unquote aliens, next week.
Wow.
Now, tell me what y'all think about this, because I mean, the people are bashing her because she called the detention center concentration camps, but she's literally saying that I've seen this with my own eyes. This is what this is like.
The craziest part about that is if you actually go on her Twitter, you'll actually see white people actually defending her, but you'll see Jews on her page that she's actually retweeting, and they're sticking up for her, and they're saying this is exactly how the Holocaust started. It was small concentration camps, and everybody looked the other way. And this is exactly how it got bigger, and then eventually killed 6 million Jews. So
I feel like I see the shock value that she wanted to get out of concentration camps.
Right.
But you have to be aware that when you do stuff like that, it makes it easy for people to throw your idea away. Be like,
definitely.
Oh, she's over exaggerating.
Yeah.
I know. It grabbed a lot of people's attention because had she not said that, we probably wouldn't.
Her.
Yeah, and that's a bonus.
Of course,
that's a bonus.
When you're talking about something as sensitive as that, when you use what we call them trigger words.
Yeah.
So when you use trigger words, the whole point is you're gonna get an uprising out of people. Jews. You know how they get when you bring the Holocaust up. So
she actually talked about Auschwitz. It's like a minimized Auschwitz camp.
Right. So
that's the worst one.
My thing is, I get it. It's dangerous. Sometimes we use trigger words. However, we do need to pay attention to it. But my thing is, it's like what upsets me with it. It's like she pushes for that, but let's talk about prison reform and all of that. Like you talk about concentration camps, the confinement in those conditions.
But the difference between that these are kids in these camps.
Yeah.
That didn't do shit to deserve none of that. And that's why I think it's such a big deal that I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't no kids there, but I'm saying that it brings a differerent level of just horrifying, dehumanizing,
it hit your ethos a
because you
little
put
more.
a child in that situation that had no say so in any of that.
Sounds like the Central Park 5, right?
Oh, hell of a lot like it.
How this correlates to the
that's
criminal?
The thing. It's so close to what we have experienced as Black people, but yet we're still not really vocal.
So that's what I was about to tie it back into. This is just another example of how white supremacy or these type of organizations affect all people or minorities. Anybody that is not of this elite class or quote unquote elite class, whether it's concentration camps or you want to call prisons or boot camps or whatever. Even we sending kids to prison in YDC, youth detention centers and all that. This is just a form of how they are careless and they don't have any sense of being humane. And that's the issue that with Trump. Like even when we posted that video about him apologizing about the Central Park 5. He shows no remorse. And this whole administration shows no remorse or being human at all, especially when it comes to the child. If you have no sympathy for a child, I really have to question your judgment.
I do, and definitely. I think that what ended up happening was here's my thing with Trump. Like, it's just his use of words. Like, words are so powerful, and certain ones that you use, it just goes to a whole different level of disrespect. You don't see these people as people. That's one.
Even when he talks about foreign stuff, he'll use certain words when he's referring to immigrants, and he'll be like, "Well, the people that's coming over the southern borders are murderers, they're drug dealers and gang bangers."
And so those are trigger words.
So he's triggering to his main base. Speaking to them indirectly, to get them to think, well, what you're really saying is all Mexicans are drug dealers and criminals. So they need to be, because I've seen some of those times when people are trying to defend what they're doing, but they were like, where his mother's coming over here as a gang banging drug dealer and da 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 da, and it's like maybe we're doing better by taking the kids. It's like, but then he'll say on the other end about, well, we need people from good countries and better countries to come over here,
Norway.
like Norway. That's what he said. So what you're saying is, people.
Well, no, it ain't no
niggas in Norway.
It's just crazy. This is like, I just wish people would study it a little bit more and see that this has always been an attack on minorities growing in strength coming over these borders, because what you're really seeing is people of color shouldn't be over here, but people from Eurocentric countries, y'all good, y'all come through. And those are the main ones who are actually jumping on their visas. Most people come in over here bouncing aren't jumping the border. They fly in through the airport
and that's my big thing with
on their
the
visas. So why are we building a wall?
It's symbolism. It's all symbolism.
Yeah, it's a symbolism.
It's
stay the fuck out.
That's definitely, you're not welcome.
It's symbolism.
Because
Because people not rolling their damn luggage across the damn border with their duffel bags and their book bags and their headphones.
It's no
like if that's how it was coming, then I would understand.
Underground tunnels and all types of shit.
They come on boats, planes, all of that. Like it is not. They're not walking across the fucking border.
And then why build just on the southern border? If you talking about border control, I've always talked about that.
So right.
What about Canada? Because you can't say you've never been thought of a fear of Canada invading. I was at Fort Drum, New York. Fort Drum was created to protect us just in case Canada was to invade us from the north. Yeah. So what about the bases that we put in the Pacific Coast was to protect us just in case the Japanese or somebody came across from that way. So why are we only focusing on the South? Oh, because the people that are in color are coming from the South coming up.
One thing I want to talk about too, which I think about Trump. So Trump is about to quote unquote impose sanctions on Mexico if they don't control their immigrant population coming over here. For those who don't know, the sanctions will be like, it's related to the trade.
Yeah, tariffs.
So that like block certain goods from coming in or give a lot of tariffs on a lot of things. So when they ship it over, they're paying like millions of dollars in taxes and stuff.
Sadly, it worked. He pretty much used his business skills to bully into Mexico. Pretty much what he told them, he knew what type of resources that they needed to be imported. They make a lot of money off of U.S. So he pretty much told them, if y'all don't invest certain money into create a stricter border control or stricter border, I'm gonna raise tariffs on y'all, and they did it. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, I agree with that tactic. Some stuff that Trump does, I actually agree with, and I think that was a good tactic because
I definitely get that. That's politics and business. That makes sense. But
and two, it's just like the people that's on the border, they don't have that many number of people actually doing. The border patrol is actually low on numbers.
Oh yeah,
you will probably have 20 guys. You know what I mean, trying to border 800 feet of land all the way across. So I think it's safe to say that why should we continue to pay our tax monies to also protect the borders when we have neighboring people?
That's just gonna make it easier for them to get in.
Nah, not necessarily. I just feel like it's just like when we go into the UN, when your soldiers deploy, it becomes a joint thing. But most of the people who pay the most out of this money is the U.S. That's us paying for everything that's going on in the world, and we're helping other countries. Why Canada isn't kicking out this much money? Why are other countries kicking out? And that's what he's doing. He's like, look, U.S. is tired of coming out of their pocket, spending Americans' money. If y'all don't want to budge, cool, we're gonna tax y'all ass, and it's working. Now, my only thing is like, don't get too. It could be a negative thing too, because when he's doing it with China right now, you see where the how the Midwest and the farmers are getting affected and stuff like that. So it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. For the border, I agree with it.
So we're gonna keep it on moving along, and so what recently happened last week was a man and a pregnant woman, his fiance, was with their 4-year-old daughter. And she was in a Family Dollar store. She walked out with a baby doll. Her parents didn't notice it, but then they were approached by 2 cops that pretty much were being way overly aggressive. Like, it was pretty much, they were kicking. I saw the man get kicked, and then they tried to take the child out of the pregnant woman's hands.
Prior to that, they pulled the gun out.
It was pretty much
came out with
a
the
major. It was pretty much a major overuse of force, and the couple has pretty much filed a $10 million lawsuit against the Phoenix Police Department.
They know they.
So they definitely trying to get their justice. I will say that, but I just want to just figure out, like, okay, so how bad of a person do you have to be to try to lock up a 4-year-old child?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a thing of them trying to lock up a 4-year-old child.
They was locking the parents up.
Yeah, they was trying to. They was trying to do
take the
stuff to the
child
parents.
from the woman.
Yeah, and then the thing of
he literally tried to reach for that baby.
Yeah, and my thing that the thing that really like made me angry about this is when like they had their guns drawn at her, and it was like, put both of your hands up. She was like, I have a baby in my hands. She said, I have a baby in my hands. Put the baby on. The baby can't walk. So why do you still have this woman trying to put both of her hands up when she has a baby in her arms? That shows that you don't even think of her as a person. Like, because I know if that was somebody else, if she wasn't a black woman, you wouldn't
do all that.
So my thing is like, it's so overt. And it's so much going on. I'm just like, when is it going to be enough for them to want to make a change? Like, is it going to be after somebody wants to shoot back, or like, is it after?
It's going to have to be a mass shooting, like blacks versus police.
Like, is it because that is something that happened in Memphis? Remember the guy who got shot like 20 something times? They killed like 6 cops over in Memphis and injured like 24. So it's like, when is it going to be enough for people to realize, and for these police departments and this justice system to hold people accountable?
Right. And then they say that they're holding them accountable by that little leave that they give them.
Or they get transferred.
Yeah, the transfer. The
chief said, when they asked them, when the reporters asked the chief, the lieutenant, they asked him, well, do you feel like excessive force is used? He said, now, excessive force, I'm not sure about excessive force. That's something that we will have to review. But when, from initial coming up, even to the car, they already had their pistols drawn.
Wow.
As she's coming out with the child, put your fucking hands up. Cursing her. The dude, he's complying. He sweeps his foot on purpose, intentionally beating these people up, like all for a call to lock the parents up because of a dog. And then that's what makes me think too, is like, why call the police?
Yeah, that's what needs to
be. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Little kids grab stuff all the time. It could have been, what happened? Like, could you not have stopped the parents? I'm sure the parents would have been like, oh, my bad. Ooh, I would have brought it back, whatever. You see the children doing that and you call the police. So it makes me wonder, who was the person who called the police?
You already know, man.
And it brings a bigger thing of when they see us, what they see when they see us.
Because that's what you saw.
Yeah, you don't see a child no more that just picked up a toy. You see criminals.
Oh shit, they live raising a little gang.
You see criminals. You see little criminals.
I mean, look at Tamir Rice. He was, how old was he when they shot him? And he was like 12, 13 years old. 12, 13, playing with a toy.
Yeah,
this is the same thing. Only difference is Tamir Price's parents wasn't with him.
Yeah.
Now just imagine it was a little boy or something doing
Especially
that,
if
and
it's a
their
little
parents
boy.
wasn't there.
Lord.
That boy probably could have been shot. We wouldn't even know nothing about it.
We would not
You know what I
have.
mean? Like, this shit crazy. Like, my question to y'all is like, how do you think we're supposed to respond in those actions? Because I hear different people tell you all the time, like, just comply, and do what they're doing. Afterwards, you know, get a lawsuit or whatever. And then I hear some people in the black community be like, fuck that, fight, defend yourself. So
And that's what I think we should do. Fight.
to
but-
me,
but
I want to
no,
ask you.
no, because-
see, that's what I
Okay,
want to
so-
ask you.
okay,
That's what I
so
want to
here's
ask you.
my-
So I want to
here's my
start with you and
opinion.
just go around.
It's not that easy. As much as I'm like such of a hothead and as mad as I can get, I care more about my life than I care about any other situation when it comes down to it. Like, my main goal is to get myself out of the situation, get home, and then I would deal with all that other stuff later. Like, I know that they on the type of stuff where they shoot first and then ask questions.
So
why would I sit there and argue with you?
More like kind of like what like our parents and our old school people used to be like. Y'all want to live, like we wanted to live. And continue to fight.
Because that's what it is. All the people that do that combativeness are the ones that get shot.
Okay, so
I feel what she's saying on that. That's how to
to
handle it now. I'm talking about if we want change. If we want change, and I say, and it can't be like a one-on-one argument, you in the car and you decide to shoot the cop. Like, I ain't talking about something like that. I'm talking about like a whole.
You saying matched violence with the
mass violence
with the
versus
violence.
mass violence. Just one time, and I bet that junk will stop. If you kill like 50 cops, I bet it'll stop.
All right, so what's your view on this?
My view on this is just to comply at the time. Hopefully somebody is recording if it's heinous enough. So hopefully somebody's recording. But what they do a lot of times too, once you start to fight back, they use that against you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it definitely wasn't excessive force. Like, for instance, the lady in Texas, the fact that she was in any type of resistance, that's why he was justified in shooting her 5 times. That's why she was justified. So I feel like if we move in a certain way and we get aggressive, they're gonna continue to use that as a pass, and they're gonna continue to get paid leave.
What's
They're
gonna
gonna
make it
continue.
change then?
What's gonna make it change is getting inside the system. I brought this up
And
before,
waiting
and
until
it's
you
my
are
thing.
back.
I know a lot of people feel like, of course, this won't happen. But I feel like with the police system, it's never going to be eradicated. We have people who say we want to abolish the police system. It's never going to happen because it scares white people too much. So what we need to do is get inside the system. We need police chiefs and stuff like that, because the only way we need judges, we need all of that. The only way to change the system is from the inside. We cannot do that from the outside. It's going to scare too many people.
All right, so this is how I feel about this, because we actually just talked about this in school. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a little bit more on Tay's side on this one, right?
Okay.
On the sense of that, I'm damn if like when people tell me about like, oh, you want to live, we need people to live and all of this. My whole thing is like, when it comes to revolution, people are gonna die. You know what I'm saying? I believe this. I'm damn if I do. I'm damn if I don't. If I'm not doing nothing and I'm dressed up and I'm going to school, I'm still liable to get my ass beat and killed by the police. If I'm out here in the streets doing something, so I might as well fight for a cause. That's just me speaking on the revolutionary aspect. But for some people, I don't think that's for everybody. I believe you should do what you can handle. If you feel like, I feel like if you got children and shit like that, maybe you should be thinking about your kids and something. For me, my
you need to know how to de-escalate. I'm working on de-escalating the situation.
I believe in that the only way to stop this type of violence is if we pick up arms in some instances, and not just black people. I'm talking about all oppressed people all over the world. All oppressed people all over the world needs to pick up guns or whatever resources and band together and fight back from oppression. And I sometimes disagree with, I do believe some of us do need to implement in the system, but just like when I'm saying fighting back, I don't think everybody. Some people are going to have to.
You need your Martin and your Malcolm.
Some people like me are going to have that. Some of us are going to have to fight back with the revolution in that instance, and some of y'all are going to have to be in those positions. So that way, when we do get democracy and real democracy,
we can hold
have
it.
People who are actually in these positions who understand it, and then we also have the warriors. Because when Malcolm, Stokely Carmichael and all of them was out there, you still had guys who was with the church and all that, where they was riding around with guns and being the vanguards. Y'all just they don't always post that on TV because they don't want you to see it.
Exactly.
But the Black Panthers started out as a Black Panther party of self-defense.
They was
Don't get it
self-defense
fucked up.
against the
They
police,
had guns. So I think you need both. And at the end of the day, until we start fighting back in the courts and physically on these streets, I don't think we're gonna get nowhere. We gotta do both.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it definitely shows that what they, like we say on a daily basis, it shows exactly how what they see us at. Oh my gosh, how they see us. So I think that I've always been the type of person to say that when I look at certain people, certain individuals that are white, and when I look at them, I can see how they're looking at me. I can literally see it in their eyes. So
and some black people,
it definitely
just Just like we had that incident the other
definitely
week.
too.
I ain't gonna say
It
no
goes
names.
both ways, but I think that it just shows that like it's getting so much more evident.
Yeah.
And I think that you definitely things don't change unless you make some change about it. Because if you do the same thing over and over again and expect something different, it's insanity.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to change unless you do something to make it make a difference.
That's why I'm kind of glad that That's why I'm kind of glad that Trump is in office, the President Trump is in office, because I always been saying this, and I was an advocate. I didn't vote for him, but I kind of wish he did become president, because studying history, especially in any revolution, you need something radical for push people.
Definitely.
And I feel like black people, especially in America, we're too fucking passive, and we want to accept everybody as our friend. And for a long time, especially after the 90s, I think we went through this whole color blindness where we try to teach, we don't see color, and there's no racism. But as soon as he became president, now we see
so many people.
Think about what his motto that he ran off of. His motto was the silent majority. So he's saying there's a whole bunch of, it's a majority of people that feel like me, they just silent. So
and it's okay. We don't need you to be all up front.
Yeah,
I
just need your money in your
vote. It's overt now. So I'm glad that we're seeing, and I think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, people gonna probably slam me. I think he's gonna be in office again for another 4 years.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't want to speak it into existence.
I definitely wasn't surprised.
Just because of certain business things that are tied up and money and troops, usually they want to continue to finish it out. But I just feel like the hate is gonna get so much worse. Like whatever happens after this is gonna be crazy, because he's the first of his kind.
It's definitely gonna be something.
If you get another couple years
to go down,
you know what? The biggest. I thought he would never get elected. I was like, they will not turn our country in the hands
we voted
of
for
him.
the Terminator in California.
I was watching how many people.
But in California did, we didn't.
And that's one of the most
liberal the whole
people.
country would do that. Shit. And the fact that they did, and now I would not be surprised. I will try my hardest to fucking vote. I will get my ass out and vote. I will be out in the
a lot of people thinking
our
that
country lit up red, okay? Like it was
this is not the first time we've seen somebody like Trump. That's why I kind of felt like he was going to win, because in America, we're about celebrities. We're like about entertainment.
Definitely.
We have an unhealthy relationship with celebrities.
Right. We have a real unhealthy unhealthy relationship with negativity.
Yeah,
a real unhealthy relationship with negativity, where it's like we like movie stars.
Yeah.
Trump was on television doing all of this. He's no different than Ronald Reagan. People forget Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Definitely.
He got the look. He knows,
so was Kennedy.
He knows what the fuck he say on Twitter and everything to get you riled up.
That's my boy.
I like Kennedy.
That's my favorite president.
Yeah, he was smooth. He was a smooth
chickens
cat.
came home to roost.
He's like 90
Yeah.
That's how you looked at
Oh, I mean, you good.
But okay, moving
weird.
on. So we wanted to definitely mention the Sudan massacres that were happening now, like recently, and I want to tell y'all, just like, I know y'all have seen pretty much the background on Twitter and everything, but I want to give you a perspective on how many people like actually died from all of this. Is 500 people have recently, now this is what has been recorded so far. 500 people have been killed, 723 have been injured, 650 have been arrested, 54 have been raped, 1,000 missing, and then 118 bodies have been dumped into the river Nile.
Wow.
Now,
And that's
this isn't
reported.
receiving, this is reported now. So, and this isn't receiving pretty much no global attention besides what's been on social media.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that this is what social media is claiming. And they're saying that the reasons why this is happening is because the victims are Africans, they're black, and they're Muslim.
Yeah.
So, what y'all think about this? Like, why do you think that we'll go raise hell to make sure Paris is straight, but when something like this happens to Sudan, we go quiet, we go silent?
You want to go ahead?
I don't know.
I would say I'm proud of like what social media is able to do now, because that gets us awoken. But I think we're not the problem right now. The problem is the government, the officials.
I'm referring to media, and I'm referring to
the media and the government. It all makes sense. Trump said why. Trump, if you listen to everybody else's president, he'll tell you why. These are shithole countries. He doesn't give a fuck. Sudan does not do anything for the United States. So the United States president does not give a damn. He don't care if the whole South Sudan just be extinct off the damn planet.
Going over the seas and stuff and going to fix other people's problems. I think we got a lot of problems here that we need.
We do,
but we have an obligation.
Let me say this. I agree with that. And you know, I was a soldier before, and a lot of soldiers may not say it out loud, but a lot of them feel like, you know,
they tired.
We were just here. We're just doing the job, right? But this is what I would say. just like how you was just talking about, we need to fight back and all of that. What's going on in Sudan isn't just going on in Sudan.
Exactly.
That's going on in Venezuela with colored people in Venezuela. It's going on with people right here in Compton and right here in Atlanta.
Definitely.
Not necessarily the government or everybody has to do certain shit, but we got to make people accountable, right? And as far as being like black people, look at South Africa and everything that's going on. It's happening to all oppressed people all over the world. So
we all need to stick together.
Exactly. Believe it or not, and that's why I get mad. Like I was just telling my homegirl, we are the majority.
Yeah.
It's more black people, it's more colored people on that diaspora. It's more oppressed people being oppressed by a smaller number. We got to fight for all oppressed people all over the world and realize that we're allies. So I just feel like all these people that are like Hotep and pro-black, if you don't support this situation, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? We got to support all oppressed people, all colored people in the diaspora, bro. So that's my view on it.
I definitely agree because, like Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere. It starts with something small, like a small country like Sudan, for it to just like go into bigger countries and just get bigger and bigger. And we have to understand, as a world power country, we have to hold other countries accountable, because say if you are a part of Sudan, you want the big America, you want China, you want these big countries to come and step up for you, because your mothers, your uncles, your father, like everybody is dying. So we have to, what comes with being a world power, the good things, we got to combat with the bad things. We got to take the good with the bad. And we can't just step back all the time.
I'm going to say this one thing too. I read a book by George Jackson called Blood in My Eye, and George Jackson talks about the working class pretty much fighting the oppressors. It's a socialist ideology, but what he says is, he made me think about something. He said that we can't get caught up also in being pro-black and anti-white. He says that we have to study oppressed people all over, such as the Chinese who was oppressed, and study how Mayo fought back. We have to study the Cubans and see how originally Castro's organization were good people originally that fought and got oppressed people. So he's like, we got to study all of these people and understand it's not a black or white thing, it's a classism thing. And understand that, because they were poor, because just like you said, if they were doing something for America and they were benefiting for it, they would do something about it. You know what I mean? But
well, they didn't even do anything about Puerto Rico, so I don't know why we expected them to do anything for Sudan.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like we as a working class had to realize, bro, we in the same situation, and we got to stick together.
Definitely.
White, black, brown, whatever you are.
Because because white people do get oppressed as well, but it's the real poor white people. I do believe they're not, maybe not as much so, but I think that they experience it, because I have seen white people get beat up on that they think that's just nothing,
especially in other countries.
I've seen it.
That's the real reason why they killed Martin Luther King anyway, because he was getting all the poor whites.
Well, because he started thinking about
because they understand how it feels. They understand
really
how it feels to be looked at like trash. So I get it. Like, I just think that it's just a whole problem universally, where it's this thing called that word of humanity. Like, what do you really know what that word means? Because to me it seems like everybody just clueless as to what humanity is, and it's no reasoning behind people getting killed. It's no trust between it's pretty much no regard for life, and that is what kills me.
And that's what I was talking about with the Trump thing the other day. It's just like, how can we as a nation hold other people accountable, and then also, because let's be real, certain platforms, I'm not into deplatforming people. I think people should speak their mind, but when you're in certain positions such as POTUS, the President of the United States, what you say can affect, and it has a triple wave. So if you're showing lack of remorse for human being lives, like, what do you think other people growing up are going to watch and see? That's dangerous.
It is, and it's super.
And it's still little kids that inspire to be like Trump and stuff like that. So it's
just like how kids grew up, and only president they ever seen was Barack. Just imagine. It's some kids who were just in high school and middle school, or even younger, just getting into politics.
And they think that's how, and you think that's how you're supposed to address.
And then their parents are reinforcing this ideology. The kid that we talked about earlier, he probably grew up in a household just like that, probably in the Ronald Reagan.
They family taught to have ties to Trump
like that.
So that's what they're pretty much just used to being on top, and that's my thing. Like, I don't think that it's just a problem with color. I don't think it's really just a problem with it's a problem with humanity in itself, and us defining that, and us trying to figure out, okay, why some of this stuff is just way too violent for little minimal situations, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, you don't have to go through that level of violence for something that's just so small or so minimal, and that's what's happening now to everybody that's not white.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Maybe just like how you said we don't need to go to that level of violence. Maybe some of us that are oppressed, maybe that's the only option that we might have is to fight fire with fire sometimes. Hopefully, it just don't get
anything
to
is
that point.
definitely possible. I just know that if that does happen, we're going to see deaths on both sides, and that's what I'm afraid of.
That's
but
okay.
That's what
we say that we say we're okay with that, but when it becomes your brother or your sister or your child or your dad or your granddaddy, like that stuff.
I'd rather have somebody.
Or your mom.
I'd rather have a group of 100 people that are willing to die about a cause than to have my little brother killed over something that's stupid that I never.
Some of us.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
Some people argue it's inevitable.
I wouldn't say that.
It's inevitable.
Look at Fidel Castillo. He had a carrying license.
Yeah.
He broke no crime. He was still shot down.
That is definitely true.
Martin Luther King was a fucking preacher, bro.
Yes.
He was advocating nonviolence,
Like
and they
y'all
still
said,
killed that man.
Malcolm and Martin Luther King, they both helped. But I feel like Malcolm just sped it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a sense.
I think their biggest flaw was that they didn't come together.
At the end,
At the end, they were kind of. They were at odds a lot. They were at odds a lot. People don't know that, but they were at odds.
That's why right now it's like that's what the black community is gonna have to come down to. It's either we're gonna have to agree on, look, bro, we just all gonna have to stick to this non-violent shit, or we all gonna have to get on the same page and say, look, all of y'all ain't gonna have a fight, but just like the Underground Railroad, some of y'all gonna have to, you know what I mean, pack the lunches, and some of y'all gonna have, some of y'all gonna have to build the graves, and that's just the reality of it is because studying any time in history where people that wanted change did not have to go through a revolution and fight and die.
Yeah.
Even in the Civil War, people died.
But they were all willing, so it's okay.
Yeah, you got to be willing, bro. You got to be selfless.
But now I do definitely think that we're also in a position where we can use your mind outside of that now more so because we're to the point where we can get into systems. We're to the point where we can go sue people. We're to the point where we can go do all these little different tactics that are used to really just get what we deserve from the stuff that's getting done to us. So I do understand like the whole violence thing and everything, and that does work sometimes. But for me, I feel like what's going to make the biggest difference and what's going to change stuff really is really going in and changing the system. Change was making you oppressed. Change all this other stuff, because at the end of the day, regardless of who's in office, the systems are still there. That's so we have to have someone. Yeah. So we have but what I'm saying is that we have to have someone that actually can go and change that and to go actually do that. Go vote. The whole main problem with why Trump halfway was in office is because a lot of us didn't vote, and that's just the truth. Yeah. So I think that we can blame a lot of stuff.
Trump really brought out the racism in this country.
But really showed. But it also was another that was true, but it was another flip side that a lot of us did not goddamn vote.
Believe it or not,
and a lot of college students definitely did not vote.
And I think that's what's gonna change in this next election.
Right.
I'm gonna get into the statistics later. Because it's a lot of things that overted with that, like with that whole thing, and that, like one of my issues with the whole voting thing, right, was like sometimes with women, like with the feminist party, especially on the other side, was pushing a lot of black women to vote sex. And so a lot of women voted for Hillary Clinton. However, white women don't support y'all. They put race first. Overwhelmingly 60% of white women voted for Trump. Definitely. So while everybody else was going around and running behind her because she was a white woman, I don't
think a lot of people went behind her because she was a white woman. I think Hillary did a lot of stuff.
Just a woman, period.
It was more aligned with our agenda than Trump was.
And that's why I think it was. It had nothing to do with
same thing like
her being a woman.
Obama. It was a lot of people just because they're black. They're like, all right, let's just finally get a black president in the White House.
No, but she was aligned more with our ideals, and she was under the Obama administration.
I would say she was more not just a white woman. I'm saying a woman. Period.
Oh yeah,
people advocated because she was a woman. Vote for her. A lot of people.
He was just saying not only that black women got left behind in the feminist thing, where like they threw that shit to the side when it came time when it was really about it.
And then too, a lot of older people. Not to cut you off, a lot of older black people, especially in the Democratic and Liberal Party, are loyal to the Clintons when the Clintons have done and been more detrimental to the black people more than anybody, and have locked more black people up than anybody in the world. Yeah. So we're loyal to them. So I seen it overwhelm. That's why I said black people, we got to get on the same page. We got to put religion to the side. We got to put fucking colorism to the side. We got to put this whole fucking should we fight or not, and we need to all fucking sit down, have representatives from the community, and stick to one agenda. That's my old argument with the white women voting for Trump is at the end of the day, the white woman and the white man stick together, even if she don't agree.
But that's not always.
Together. I'm saying in politics. When it comes
wait
to
a minute.
politics,
Okay.
overwhelmingly. So all I'm saying is, if we want to win, if we're gonna vote and all of that, we gotta pick together and choose who we're gonna vote for. And we're
But
not
you're
always on the
gonna
same
have
page.
opposing sides, and
But you're gonna
I
have
don't
a
think
majority,
that's realistic
though.
to ask for.
You're
Honestly,
You're
don't
gonna
think-
always have a majority.
You're always gonna have a majority, but I just don't think that it's.
Everybody
it's,
not
we're
gonna
not
be
always
happy.
not gonna agree on the stuff
that's
that, on the way we should react to certain stuff when it comes down to how to get us out of
But
this
we gotta
oppression.
support the majority then.
But I don't think that's realistic. I don't think everybody's gonna all.
That's why I use the
kumbaya
white
and
people
say, I agree with you
thing
on
with the
this
Trump.
thing. Like,
People's
that's not-
We don't need
But that
everybody.
has a
We
lot
just
to do
need
with
the
control
majority.
that white
That's all I'm
men
saying.
have over their
But
wives.
we don't-
So
we
that has
don't-
a lot to do with that
And
as well.
Chinese people stick with Chinese people
and
when they vote.
They do.
We don't.
Well,
Even-
we can't. We're not gonna say that because we don't know.
And yes, we do.
I'm not gonna
You
say
might not
that, nigga.
see.
We do
I'm a
not
political
know.
science major. Like we
I'm
see the
not finna say
statistic.
that.
Like they stick together even in economics. All I'm saying
Oh yeah,
is.
as
Yes,
far as that, yeah.
definitely.
And so it's
in
voting
that.
as well. They control their communities or who's ever in.
Oh, a lot of times though,
Yeah.
also Chinese people don't give a damn about voting.
They don't.
Asian
Because they
people-
don't know what
they-
democracy is.
They
half the
like,
time.
hey, we gonna do this. I don't care
we
if
ain't
Trump
gonna
in
say
here.
that.
We're not
or-
gonna say
Yeah,
that.
I ain't gonna say
No,
that.
No,
what
no,
I'm
no.
saying
But I'm
is
saying
it's
a lot of
like-
times that's not what their focus is on. Their focus is on like
they
the
still-
businesses and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and
But a
getting
lot of
money.
them don't.
And
don't
aren't a lot of them
vote. Like
Republicans?
it's not like a big
Not
thing
all of
for
them.
them.
A lot of them are.
A lot of Hispanics are Republicans. Overwhelmingly,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of
Yes,
Hispanics
I
are
know that. I have a
Republicans. You know
whole
what I'm
half
saying?
a family that's Hispanic. I know they
So
Republicans.
it's just like all I'm saying is, bro, we regardless of whatever differences, we got to put certain things aside, and the majority who's with it just got to be with it, bro, and who's not. That's all I'm saying, and that's what they do because. At the end of the day, we see that Trump is misogynistic, and white women still voted for him. You know what I mean?
Definitely, and that's crazy to me. So, on the other end, I just don't feel like that's gonna actually be realistic, but definitely, I think that it's a possibility. But I just think that it's just different for. It's different for when you actually in situations and people are actually like I do believe that people would rather just go towards the non-violent way of doing things than just doing the violent way of doing things, because honestly it has been
think
happening
they're scared.
repeatedly, but history repeats itself, and history I ain't scared of nothing but Jesus Lord himself, but
reason to
I
fight
think that
then.
no, but there's no reason to fight. Not everything evolves around violence. Like that's not gonna have that's not what gets you places. That's not what actually implements laws. That's not what actually changes things. That history repeats itself. So if history repeats itself, that means this stuff is gonna keep happening over and over and over again if we keep using violence.
And
That's
we've
just what
used
that
violence,
means.
and we've shown
So-
that we've got certain things out of
But
it.
and we
I'm
have
talking
gotten
about
certain
countries
things
as
out of it,
well.
but
I'm talking about
saying-
nations for
Yeah.
But
democracy.
what's so wrong with using your brain?
There's
and
nothing
using
wrong.
what
I said
God
it
has
is
given
slow.
you? Like,
It's
what's
slow.
wrong?
It's
It's slow.
slow.
It's definitely slow, but it lasts longer.
But your
it
family,
definitely
but in the
lasts
meantime,
longer.
your cousin's gonna die. You're
Yes,
gonna have mothers
but-
that
no,
die.
but
You're
see,
gonna
the
have
thing is,
fathers that
listen,
die.
but see,
I'm not
that's the
saying we
thing,
don't.
like,
We
you be
need
so
both,
happy,
but we
you be
gotta
so
fight.
fast to go jump up and want to go pick up a gun, but you're not so fast to go get up and vote. So that's my thing. Like
Yeah.
that's my
No, it
problem
has
with
to be
it.
a
Like,
duality.
Both. I said
It's
it's
a
gotta
it
be
has
duality.
to be
both.
a balance. It has to be a
It gotta be
balance to it
both.
all. Because if it's
But we
not a
still gotta
balance to it
fight.
all, yeah, I definitely believe in that. That you definitely should fight because I've seen it for my own
That's why I said
eyes.
some
but
of
I'm
y'all
not
gotta go to
saying
school. Some of y'all need
that-
to go be attorneys. So when we do get a
'Cause-
correct democracy, you can understand these positions.
And
That's
they'll
why
get
not,
you
and not
in the
that we're
system.
encouraging people to get out and shoot cops, but we're encouraging
If you
people to
see
be
one-
ready.
If you see a cop,
Hey,
no, I'm just playing.
don't.
I wasn't gonna do
We,
that. I was
but
gonna shoot
we have to have these systems in place to be ready if anything does come. Not to say that we're gonna go and have, but we need to have this in place and we need to start planning.
Definitely, but I hate that narrative of violence. I just don't want that to get used against us because everybody already think we violent as hell when we just simply open our mouth. So I just don't want to agree. Go
It's your right
along
in the
with
Constitution.
that. But it's definitely all right.
It's
But you don't have
all
to
I'm doing,
feed
all I'm
into
doing
a
is,
lot of it.
and if you think about it, all I'm doing is still pushing our American patriotic idea. The forefathers created the Constitution and also stated that
Have an armed
if the
militia.
government does not support that of what of the people, then you as the people should have the right to fight back and instill a government which represents the people. That is in the Constitution.
It's
what the
fine,
framers
it's your
did,
right, but that don't
what
mean
the
you should do it.
Well, what the framers did was they said y'all over here bullying us, y'all doing this, and the framers created that and put that in the Constitution, fought back and created this country. So I see nothing wrong with what we're doing and still pushing that nationalist idea. If you're really about American ideology, if you're really about the land of the free and being freedom, justice, and equality, sometimes you got to die for freedom, justice, and equality.
Definitely, I definitely agree on that. So we have reached upon the end of our show, you guys. So this is your girl, Jada. You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Jada Dean.
This your boy Tay. You can follow me on Instagram at _1TAE_.
Joaquin_Ali on IG and Twitter. I barely be on there, but hit me up.
You can follow me at Instagram and Twitter at Thomas_Jones, the letter I, the letter V.
And we are The Field on Power 108.9.
Yo.
See you next week.
You had all the time.
All the way. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool as fuck. It was like, what?
The
Second, third, and fourth? I thought that was dope.